It's 3 a.m. You're staring at the ceiling. That conversation from today is playing on repeat in your head. What you should have said, what you didn't say, what they meant, what you looked like. Over and over. You hate it, but you can't stop it. The Stoics faced this too. Marcus Aurelius, ruling an empire, couldn't sleep because of the weight in his mind. Seneca, one of the wealthiest men in Rome, tortured by his own thoughts. Epictetus, a former slave, haunted by memories he couldn't change. But they found a way out, not through distraction, not through busyness, through training. Mental discipline, so sharp it could cut through the chaos and bring peace when it mattered most. Today you're going to learn exactly how they did it. 5 ancient techniques that will teach your mind to let go, to stop the replay, and to sleep like a man who has nothing left to prove. Number 1. They separated the story from the event. Here's what happens at 3 a.m. Your mind isn't replaying what actually happened. It's replaying your story about what happened. The meaning you attached, the judgment you made, the fear you felt. That's the loop. The event was simple. Someone said something. You responded. It ended. But your mind added layers. You told yourself it meant you were weak, or stupid, or disrespected. And now you're not replaying the conversation. You're replaying the wound. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The things themselves don't hurt us. Our opinion about them does." This isn't philosophy, it's survival. Because if you can't separate the event from the story, you'll carry every interaction like a scar. A Stoic understands this. The event is neutral. The story is optional. And at 3 a.m., the story is the enemy. So here's what you do. When the replay starts, stop and ask what actually happened. Not what it meant, not how it felt, just the facts. He said this. I said that. It ended. That's it. Strip away the narrative. What's left is small, manageable, forgettable. The event doesn't own you. Your story does. Change the story or drop it entirely. Number 2. They practiced the premeditation of adversity. The Stoics didn't wait until 3 a.m. to train their minds. They practiced during the day. They imagined the worst conversations, the hardest rejections, the deepest embarrassments. Not to torture themselves, to prepare. They called it negative visualization. Seneca would sit quietly and picture everything that could go wrong. Not out of fear, out of strength. Because when you've already faced it in your mind, the real thing loses its power. Here's why this works. Your mind replays conversations because it's trying to solve a problem. It thinks if it runs the scenario enough times, it can fix what went wrong. But that's a lie. The conversation is over. The problem isn't solvable. The only solution is acceptance. A disciplined mind knows this. It doesn't wait for the pain, it meets it first. So practice this. Every morning, spend 2 minutes imagining a conversation going badly. Picture yourself saying the wrong thing. Picture someone dismissing you. Picture the silence after you speak. Feel it, and then let it go. Because you've already survived it in your mind. When the real version happens, it's not new. It's expected, and expected pain doesn't haunt you at 3 a.m. Number 3. They asked, is this in my control? Epictetus had one rule that changed everything. Some things are in your control, most things are not. And suffering comes from confusing the two. At 3 a.m., you're replaying a conversation. Here's what's not in your control anymore. What they thought, what they said, how they reacted, how you looked, how it ended. None of it. It's done, finished, outside your reach. Here's what is in your control. What you do next, how you show up tomorrow. Whether you let this moment define you. That's it. That's the only battlefield that matters. But your mind doesn't want to accept this. It wants to believe. If it replays the moment enough times, it can change the outcome. It can go back and win. And that's the trap. A strong man chooses his battles, and he doesn't fight wars that are already over. So when the replay starts, stop and ask, can I control this? If the answer is no, you're done. Let it go. Not because it doesn't matter, but because fighting it is a waste of your strength. Your power is in the present, not the past. Stop giving the past a vote in your future. Number 4. They wrote it down and watched it shrink. The Stoics were obsessive journalers. Marcus Aurelius filled pages every night, not because he had answers, because he had thoughts that needed to be seen. Here's what happens when a thought stays in your head. It grows, it repeats, it distorts, it becomes larger than life. But when you write it down, something shifts. You see it for what it is: small, human, survivable. This is the secret. The thought at 3 a.m. feels massive because it's invisible, it's shapeless, it's everywhere. But when you write it, "I'm upset because he dismissed my idea in the meeting," suddenly it has boundaries, limits, a size, and most of the time it's smaller than you thought. A Stoic understands that clarity is the antidote to chaos, and writing is clarity. So keep a notebook by your bed. When the replay starts, write it. One sentence: what happened, how you feel, what you're afraid it means. Don't analyze, don't solve, just name it. Watch it shrink from a monster to a sentence, from a storm to a statement. Once it's on paper, it's no longer in you. It's in front of you, and things in front of you are easier to walk away from. Number 5. They trained their minds to return to breath. The Stoics didn't meditate the way we think of it today, but they practiced something close. They trained themselves to return, to come back, to the body, to the moment, to the breath. Because here's the truth: every thought that keeps you awake at 3 a.m. lives in the past or the future. The regret lives in what already happened. The anxiety lives in what might happen. Neither is real, neither is now. The breath is now. It's the only thing that's always true. And when you return to it, the replay stops. Not because the thought disappears, but because you stop feeding it attention. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present, not as a suggestion, as a command. Because the present is the only place you have power. A disciplined mind knows where home is, and it's not in the memory, it's in the breath." So practice this. When the conversation starts replaying, close your eyes, breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4, out for 4. Don't fight the thought, don't push it away. Just breathe. Let the thought be there, but don't follow it. Let it pass like a cloud. After 10 breaths, the grip weakens. After 20, you're free. Not because the thought is gone, but because you stopped letting it lead. The Stoics weren't superhuman. They struggled. They doubted. They replayed conversations just like you. But they refused to let their minds become prisons. They built tools, practices, disciplines, not to avoid pain, but to move through it with dignity. You don't need a perfect mind. You need a trained one. A mind that knows the difference between a real threat and a memory. A mind that can let go of what it can't control. A mind that doesn't mistake a bad moment for a bad life. This is the work, not once, every day, at 3 a.m. and at 3 p.m., in the quiet and in the noise. You train it, you guide it, you bring it back. And over time, the replays stop. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. A Stoic doesn't wait for peace. He builds it. If this video helped you, subscribe. There's more coming. Real philosophy, real tools, no fluff. And if you want to go deeper, check out the next video where we break down how the Stoics handled rejection without losing themselves. If this hits deep, drop a comment and tell me which technique you're going to try tonight. Let's build this discipline together. Now go, train your mind, and sleep like a man who has nothing left to prove.